How are we doing? I'm just checking, make sure the microphone. Okay, cool. Oh, how are we doing? What's been going on? Let's just get this. Oh, right. Let's give it a second for everyone to jump on. Howard Morris, how are you, mate? You okay? James, how you doing, James? Omar, AJ Bubs. What's happening? Oh, man. So, you wouldn't believe the amount of mad comments I've had lately on all, like, so usually, right, I look at me little YouTube channel dashboard on my phone, and I'll be able to just see, like, what's been going on and stuff. And I keep getting loads of comments across, because usually you put a video out and you get comments on that video, or maybe one or two of the more popular ones every day. I'll maybe get about 20 comments a day. And what I found is the last week or so, I keep getting comments across all different random videos, and they all pretty much say the same thing. They're all saying, yeah, I like the channel, like the plastering, but because of the Donald Trump sign, this video is getting a dislike and I'm unsubscribing. That's all I keep getting, is people saying I'm unsubscribing because of that Donald Trump sign. So, this is bizarre to me. Can you hear me, by the way? Let's just wait there. Let's close that down. Just let me know if that microphone is getting me enough, if it's loud enough. See if I can turn it up a bit as well. I don't think I can. All clear. Okay, good. Cheers, James. Yeah, so what I was saying was, this is bizarre to me because people are basically saying, like, he's right wing, like, and then projecting it onto me. And here's the thing, I probably am what you would class as a right wing person. Now, I don't identify myself as, I don't really identify myself as anything. I'm not really that great into politics, but I probably am more right wing than left wing. But that said, what's mad to me is, I thought in my mind, if you're a right wing person, that you were quite intolerant. But here's the thing, I've got mates that are all different colours, all different religions, all different races. I don't give a monkeys. I couldn't give a monkeys if you were from flipping India, dressed up in your flipping missus's underwear and did Pilates at the weekend. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. I'll just treat everyone the same. It doesn't matter who it is. But what's interesting is, people then that you would class as left wing come on and say, I'm unsubscribing from your channel, I'm leaving, and I'm disliking this video because you've got a Donald Trump sign. So who are the intolerant people? Yeah. It's like, so here's the thing, I'm actually not that bothered about having that sign up there, but trust me, it's staying up now 100%, because it gets rid of all the intolerant people off the channel. So if you're that way inclined, that you can't have somebody that you get along with that has different views to you, and that offends you that much, good, go. I'm flipping glad to have rid of you, because my people that are classed as best mates are basically, it's like when you're a bloke, you probably got one or two people that you class as, proper mates that would die for you, sort of thing. The people I class as my best mates, we pretty much don't agree on a lot of stuff. But who cares? We don't need to. But flipping. Anyway, so I wanted to come on and address that because I know when they see this title pop up, if they subscribe to my name, then I know they're going to click on it. So if you are that intolerant that you can't handle listening to somebody because they have a different opinion to you, I'll be glad to have rid of you. So adios. Right. Anyway, that said, that said, do you know how that come about as well? Do you know how I ended up with that sign? Young Kieran, who worked for me about a year ago, sent him traveling all around the world. I didn't pay for him. I just told him it's something I wished I'd done when I was younger. I wished I'd had the chance to go and see the world. So I said to him, go and do it before life gets hold of you, before you end up with a mortgage and a wife and kids and car payments and insurances. I said, you're at that wonderful age where you've just left school and you've got a little bit of money behind you and you haven't settled down yet. And that is only a very, very short time, and it's special. And if nobody tells you this, it's gone like that. And before you know it, you wake up married with kids and commitments. I said, so take advantage of this time now. I said, what I want you to do, Kieran, is go and travel and see the world. I said, you will always have a job. Don't worry about your job. When you come back, if you run out of money or whatever, you can always come back and you've got a job. With me, you can start off again. So that's what he did. So he actually went all over Europe. He traveled all over the place. He went to America. He did he went to a different country for a long weekend once a month for a year, basically. He went everywhere. And then he met people when he was doing that were Americans. And then they sorted him out with a place to stay when he went to America. So every country he went to, he got me a little plaque like that one from Croatia. They're all over the place. There's Prague, there's Amsterdam, there's Budapest, they're all over here. It just so happens that the one from New York is there, and that's what drives them wild. So, so that's the story behind it. Anyway, now that's that out of the way. Let's have a chat. Seems we're all here anyway. Do you reckon that coffee's brewed long enough yet? What have we got here now? Ben Williams. I tell you what, let's just everyone's saying hello. Watching your channel. I'm just going to see. AJ Bubs, get it. Make plastering great again sign. Do you know what? We might get that on t-shirts actually. Oh, I've sorted out a new t-shirt for all you guys that love buying the t-shirts and stuff. I've actually got one that's coming out that's going to say plastering nerd on the front of it with a little picture of a nerd. And I've been speaking to Lauren, who organises all this. And I've told her that to get the cheapest material we can and just sell them at basically no profit, just whatever they cost us, just to basically, just as long as the shipping's covered, just sell them at that cost, so that I don't know what she's in the middle of sorting it out. So whatever they go for, anyway, they won't be expensive. I think they're actually in the online store now, but they're not listed on the. Right, yeah, I can explain this. If you go on my YouTube videos and you go to the online store and you see the pictures underneath and you can pick things that you want from there, it's not there. You have to click and go into the online store and you will find it in the catalogue or something. I don't know. I don't really ever go in there because whenever I want stuff, I just ask for a sample. But they're in there, plastering nerds. When I say I want a sample, I still have to pay for them. I don't get them for free. All that as well, by the way, all the clothing and the merchandise and that sort of stuff, that's not done by me personally. How it works is you get a Shopify store and then you pay for that, and then you pay Printify that integrates with that. And then what happens is when you purchase something from the store, Shopify take your money and they hold on to that for a month. They send the order to Printify, who print and ship the stuff. And when they do that, they automatically take the money off me. Okay. So Shopify have got your money, Printify take my money. And then at the end of the month, Shopify give me that money back. Does that make sense? But Shopify and Printify do all of the money and the shipping and the printing and everything. So if like an order goes missing, you have to contact us and we sort it, but it's basically nothing to do with us. We have no control over it. We don't touch any of it. All we do is just literally make designs and upload them to the store, and then they sort everything else. That's how it works. I think that's how it works on everybody else's YouTube channel as well, unless they have their own products that they sort out. But I mean, I haven't got time for that, and I haven't got space to have 1,000 different size t-shirts and stuff. So, but if, like I said, if you want one of those plastering nerd t-shirts, I've tried to make them so they are literally rock bottom prices, so we can all enjoy having one of them if you want one. Anyway, you might not want to be classed as a nerd, but if you're man enough to take the label, then go for it. Ben Williams, evening Kirk, how's it all going with you? Hope all is well. I've had my collarbone plated and screwed back together now. Now it's time to read some books. Flipping heck. Well, yeah, you're not going to be doing much for a little while, mate. Hope you get better soon. Nothing worse than broken bones. Pat Link. Kirk, thank you for all your tips and tricks. Working for me as a DIY dad, renovating my son's house, plastering and doing all the work. I hope he's helping you, Pat. But cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Paul Anthony. I'd rather have Trump than Labour. Yeah, fair dues. I must admit, I am fond of the fella, but that's not why I've got the sign up there. But I tell you what I like about Trump, just whilst we're on the subject of him. And I don't agree with absolutely everything he says. And do I think he's a little bit of a wild card? Yes. Do I trust the man, though? Yeah. He's the only fellow that didn't start any wars so far. But regardless of that, I'm not trying to sell it you. What I do like about him is he's not bought. He doesn't. He only answers to himself. Which, when there was an interview with Putin, and they were asking him about how he feels about, I think it was, they were talking about Joe Biden being in power. And Putin said, I don't deal with your presidents. When I speak to the USA, I speak to the CIA. I don't deal with your president. So it just shows you, doesn't it? Basically, the presidents are just basically little puppets put in place by whoever is funding their political party. That's the only thing I like about Trump. I feel like that he actually is calling the shots himself because he doesn't need sponsors and donors and money from other people. I might be wrong, but that's just my opinion. And that's why I prefer him, because I feel like the man speaks his mind. He doesn't say one thing and really like a little, like British politics, are all like sneaky little creeps and they just say one thing but mean other stuff, you know. Paul Smith, well said, Kirk. Cheers, mate. Eric C, 71,000 subs now, Kirk. Fair place. Yeah. They might all be leaving now, mate. They might all be on the way out the door now. The thing is, as well, I would say I'm quite a chilled out person. It takes a lot to sort of get me rattled. I'm very, very tolerant of other people, and when people make mistakes and stuff, I don't hold it against them. When people have done things to genuinely that have cost me money, they've made a mistake and it's cost me money, or they've said things and it's hurt me feelings, or they've done whatever. I'm quite a laid back person. I'll sit back and think, was that their intention, or has it just been they've made a mistake on their part? You know, I would say I'm quite a chilled out, easy to get along with, tolerant sort of guy. So I don't know, if people can't tolerate people with a different opinion, then whatever. I'm one of them. Tolerance, and I'm very, very easygoing with other people, but I'm not going to water down myself. You know, I'm not going to water me down so I become vanilla, so that everybody likes me and I please everybody, because I won't. You know, there's certain things I know that I get people giving me stick because I go on about flexi trials that I hate them and they should be banned. No one that starts plastering out should use a flexi trial. You shouldn't be allowed to have one until you've done at least 5 years plastering. You know, people flipping hate it, but that's just my genuine opinion. I think there's too many little gadgets and gizmos that people try and use to try and make the plastering life easier before they've actually learned how to plaster. And then it's a case of when you haven't got these things, you're knackered. Um, one Tanamara, big respect, Kirk, for all all your work. Stand your ground. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much, Sean O'Donnell. Evening, Kirk. Hope you and the family are all well. Yeah, it's actually it's little Kirk's birthday today. My son, there's an old picture of him now. This little dude. It's his second birthday today. He's 2 today. He doesn't look like that. That was about 6 months ago, so he's changed a little bit since then. He seems to have thinned out just a touch, but yeah, he's 2 today, so it's been a bit of a hectic one. Miggy, I worked with a plastering nerd, HM plastering. Jack FD, Trump 2024. Yes. RF Grinch. Supposedly, people get offended by the word nerd. Long. We'll look forward to buying one. Hopefully, yeah. I think they'll. I'm sure. Yeah. Let's wait there. Let's just confirm it. Let me just check. I don't want to be telling you one thing if it's not there. So if I go to my YouTube, click on the. I don't actually know if it's here or not. I'm just going to make sure. Lauren told me it's here, so we'll just see. Yeah, if I go on my YouTube and go across the store, there's all the featured stuff. I think you have to actually go into the store, press catalog. You tell I don't buy much from it. I don't know where I'm going. When I want stuff, I just say, "Oh, send me a sample of that." Shop or collections. Is it in there? There we go. There we go. Go to shop or collections when you're in here, and go down to here. Plastering Geek. Can you see that? See the little picture of the nerd as well. What do you reckon to that? I thought that was quite cool. You can have it in blue or red up to now. Anyway, right, enough of that. Ivan, any affiliate links to buy equipment? I'm after the carbon steel trial now, after a used stainless one for a while. I will, they're all trials there, mate. I will literally be wearing those in and selling those as warning ones, or raffling them off anyway. That's the main thing. But to just buy trials, I think you can just buy a 14 before on Amazon. I mean, that's where I originally bought mine from, was Amazon. So just have a look on there for the 14 before inch carbon steel. Well, or whatever size you want. I mean, I use a 4-inch, but you might prefer a 4 3/4 or a 5-inch. James, isn't it geek, mate? Yes, yeah, James, you're right. Yeah, we were looking. I'll tell you how that come about. I was going to call it a plastering nerd, and it got changed to geek because in the font it just reads easier. It was more pleasing to the eye. In the writing with the G rather than nerd. So yeah, sorry, plastering geek, not plastering nerd. So all the geeks now will be flipping, getting the little flipping knickers in a twist. Yilmaz Tatar. Hello, Kirk. How are you? I'm very good, Yilmaz. Good, thank you very much, mate. AJ Bubs. Night Lark, ferry at 5 a.m. tomorrow, mate. Flipping heck. You get around, you do. Fair play, AJ. Liverpool School Plastering. It will get faster payments once you get a working history with them. They're very good, Shopify. Also, they give capital once you are with them 6 months. Brilliant website company. Yes, I've currently got another Shopify store. That's where we host the store for the Pink SBR. pinksbr.co.uk. That's a Shopify store, but it's expensive, man. That's the only thing. When we got the Shopify store for the t-shirts and stuff, the stuff you just seen then, I think that was like £25 a month. Whereas now, the cheapest plan that they do, that we've had to do the SBR one, is like £65 a month for the cheapest plan. So I don't know why and we've set it up from different sort of. It's not like you can only have one cheap one. We've set it up from a whole different account, so it's like a whole new person setting it up. But yeah, it seems to be getting a little bit more pricey. Dave Pangolin. If you follow the Thistle multi-finish advice of 11.5 a bag, the mix is nearly unusable. It has been on the bag for 20 years. Yeah, spot on. Darryl Tony, you're a Starkirk, shining bright. Great that the Trump sticker is staying. Lefties only have one view. Left, yeah, true. And you know what's crazy? I've got full on left wing sort of ideological people. If I said that right, left wing ideological people in my immediate, well, not immediate family. Sorry, no, not in my own home, but in my family. I've got relations that are very sort of, left wing viewing sort of. I get on with all of them fine. What they think of me, I don't know, but they have to sort of put up with me because I'm family, aren't I? So, but I haven't got nothing against them. In fact, I go out my way to speak to them so that they know that I'm fond of them, rather than just sort of like, I'll message them. I'll see the posts on Facebook and I'll comment and say nice things to them just so they know, oh yeah, Arkirk sound, he doesn't think anything funny of us or anything because we've sort of come out the closet or whatever. But I don't know. Anyway, don't want to get into it too much. Yilmaz Tata or Tata, I've completed my plastering course. Fair play, mate. Well, the thing is now the real learning begins. So the plastering course will give you a good introduction, and now the learning begins. And when I say that, I'm not saying it in a condescending way, like I'm something dead special and I'm telling you now you've got to learn. I'm still learning. The good thing with plastering is, mate, you never ever stop learning. It never ends. And there's always constantly, as you sort of start catching up, there's always constantly new products that come out with different applications, different ways of doing things. So it's a constant process. Miggy77, bang on what you're saying. Cheers, Miggy. Kelvin, that's up, big man. Onward and upward. Kelvin, I'm getting into roofing. Fair play, mate. Heights. I'm fine with height as long as I know I'm safe. If I'm safe, I'm fine. If I don't really walking up wet roofs and stuff is not my deal. I don't bounce very well at 18 stone. Oh, that's what I should tell you as well. So for any of you that don't know, I've got a snapped ACL and I've got been to see the specialist. They sent me for the scans. The scans have come back. Been back to see the specialist, and I was a bit miffed. Right, I was a bit miffed because when I went back to see the specialist, she was busy, and I seen like a little sidekick who basically there and then fobbed me off, right, and looked at me scan and was like, "Yeah, well, a lot of people just live with a snapped ACL, and I wouldn't recommend the operation. And I think you should start doing some physiotherapy and strengthening the leg and all the rest of it, right?" And I'm like, she said, "Have you tried doing exercise, squats and stuff?" I was like, "You having a laugh?" I've had this injury now for well over the flipping year. How long have I had it for? Oh, I don't know. It's probably about 18 months now. I'm climbing up and down ladders and on and off trestles all day. Trust me, it's not getting better. It constantly gives me jip. So it's not like I've just been lying there resting it. So I went out of there quite miffed because it looked like they didn't want to do anything, and they've looked at the scan and they've just jibbed me off. About an hour later, the specialist that I was meant to see, who seen me originally, that sent me for the scan, said she's just looked at my scans and that I should go for an operation. She said, by looking at the scan, I've got a snapped ACL and a torn cartilage in my knee. So snapped ACL, torn cartilage, and I've got to go and see the specialist on the 30th of this month. Not the specialist, sorry, the surgeon on the 30th of this month. So that will be the beginning of getting me knee fixed. So then my fat ass can start doing some flipping running again and get this weight off. In time, obviously. And that's the other thing as well. There was talk of the two things not being done together. I think that's what she was saying to me, but that'll be the surgeon's final call on that, whether the two things get fixed at the same time or whether they do two separate operations. She did mention something about the surgeon might not want to do them both together because don't want to fix me cartilage and then me ACL be sort of stretched over it, but it not be where it needs for it not to heal in that position because the swelling or whatever. I don't flipping know. We'll just see. We'll just see what he says anyway. So, but it might potentially end up being like 5 months off work in total. So we'll just see. Yeah, Paul Johnson. We love our kids when they're asleep. I've flipping skipped over a few comments. Sorry if I've skipped past a few comments here. I've just accidentally I can't find my place again. So I'm up to what's the hardest job or most awkward job you've ever had to do? Hardest and most awkward job. I would say not technically difficult. Sorry, not technically difficult. Tyrolean, hand applied with the tiddy gun is horrendous. That sticks in my mind. Another job where we did some basements for the builder, the Radeals out in they live out in Cheshire, and he had his basement on his house that he dug out. So his house was built and he dug down and dug a basement out in his house, Fritzl style, you know. And we had to go down there. It was all he dug it into like the sandstone, and then he wanted it all. He poured concrete and stuff. And when we turned up, he just wanted it all waterproofing. But he had his own specifications that he wanted us to do, and that involved like splatter dashing all the walls first to give him a key. But there were certain parts because it wasn't a square room. There was like ledges and stuff. So you go on this ledge, and it was like storage where he was going to store things. But the ledge would only be like 2 foot, but it'd be in about 3 foot in. And to splatter dash in there, you had to literally crawl in there and do it. So, I mean, that was horrendous. That sticks out in my mind because I was literally lying on my back. Now, you'd think lying on your back would be quite easy, but if you try and lie on your back and work with your hands there, because it's a completely different way of working, you know, you're trying to flick stuff on, get your handboard loaded up, and then come back and you're lying down trying to flick like this. It's all going all over you. That was not fun. Justin Breslin, hi Kirk, using the pink SBR this week. Excellent stuff. Can you give a shout to all the spreads in Plymouth? Yes, as long as they're using the pink SBR. Yeah, top man. Cheers, Justin. Omar, can the pink SPR ship to the Republic of Ireland, or would shipping and duties be expensive, or have you sent any over here yet? I think we do send stuff everywhere. We've sent tubs to America and all sorts, so we do ship everywhere in the world. What happens is, if it won't let you do it on the order form, if it won't let you select your part, I know we've sent stuff to Ireland. I don't know if it's Northern Ireland or whatever, but I know we have sent stuff there, but I don't look at that no more. Lovin deals with all the shipping, you see. So all I'd say is if the option isn't there for where you want it to go to, just fill in a little contact form at the bottom and say that's where you want to ship it to. And when you do that, she will set it up on the website and let you know when it's done. Because basically, for every single different country, we have to apply a different shipping rate because we ship the stuff ourselves. So we have to get a quote from the couriers and then apply it to the website. So we didn't want to sit down and go through all the countries in Europe, say, and phone up and get quotes for every single one because it just takes too long. So what we said was we'll just set it up as it is for the UK mainland, and then as people request different countries, we will just add them as the requests come in. We'll add them. Does that make sense? So if it's not on there, then it will be once you email. There's a little contact form. Just fill that in and say I live here. Get me a shipping rate, and she'll do it. I mean, say please, like but she'll sort it. Artisan cars. I'm pulling lath and plaster ceilings tomorrow. Do you have any advice on PPE apart from masks? Oh, flipping. Yeah, just get someone else to do it. That's the best advice I can give you. Don't go in there yourself. um, all my dad ever used to do was my dad used to send me and my brother in to do it. So we'd do it and he'd stay out the way. We used to go in white suits, the zip up paper suits with the hood up and the mask and the goggles on. Do you know what the truth is? Don't bother with the little paper masks because that's all he used to give us. They're absolutely crap. They won't work. So if you're going to get a mask, go all the way and get a proper one, a vented one or whatever they are with the like gas masks. Go and get a proper one of those. But you end up getting that hot and sweaty doing it. It's just a flipping horrible job. So make sure you've got steel boots on as well. Make sure that you've got a proper plate on the bottom of your boots because the amount of times laths will come down with little nails sticking up and they'll be sticking to the bottom of your trainers if you're wearing trainers or whatever. So make sure you got proper boots on. Apart from that, the only advice I could give you is a crowbar seems to be the best way because you can just smash it up through the ceiling and just twist it and rip it back down again, and you can pull them down quite quick like that. Or if it's in an attic, if it's an upstairs room and you can get above it and just kick it down, that's easier than actually being below and pulling it down because you're pulling it down yourself. Other people might have better ways of doing it. That's just flipping. I try my best not to ever do it now if I can help it. Freeman's finishes. Got home from work about an hour ago with my elbow, shoulder, and wrist hanging off. Not missed. I know, mate. It's a hard graft job. Yeah, you're alive for a change. I know. Do you know what? Over the last couple of weeks, I've just been mad busy. To be fair, not intentional. There was no sort of reason I didn't go live, apart from the fact that just there's only so much you can do before your brain just gets frazzled out. So every single day, to-do lists. I've always got lists of things that I just need to be doing all the time, and every day I don't finish them. So when the list is like 2 pages long, then I'm just like, I haven't got time to go live. Oh. Yilmaz Tatar, is it Tater or Tatar? Or am I pronouncing it wrong? I don't want to say your name wrong, mate. No, cause any offence. Thank you so much for your best advice. Yeah, no problem, mate. Keith, spot on, Keith. Ian Turner, Kirk, you need to look at your diet to get the weight off. You won't run it off, but exercise will help. No, I know, mate. I know that. Losing weight is literally 75% diet. The thing with the exercise is, for me, it all comes as a package. So when I eat clean, I'll train, and when I'm start training, I'll want to eat clean. So now, just eating clean, it's just I can be very, very strict when I want to be, but then if I'm not focused on it, if I'm not training, then I feel like I don't bother. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, I have to do it all together. I'm like an all or nothing kind of person. I'm either all in or not. So I can't help it as well. I try and be balanced. I'm probably one of the most unbalanced people you ever meet. I'm either 100% into something or I'm not interested whatsoever. And I've tried my whole life to become balanced, and I just can't. I just bounce from one thing to the next. 100% there, 100% there. So we're all different, aren't we? Keith Kirk, have you ever had experience of rendering timber frames? If so, what board should I use on the outside? Cheers, mate. You'll probably get specced with a render carrier board, like a cement board, and then you'll end up, the specification will no doubt be a thin coat render. So, an acrylic render in tubs. That's probably what the outcome will be. Old school way of doing it would have been to install riblath, where you'd have the timber frame first, and then you could put felt over it, and then you could put riblath, which is like expanded metal lath with little ribs on the back of it, and the ribs go on the inside to step the expanded metal lath off the wall a little bit, so that when you put the render on, the metal is in the center of the render, and then you can key it and you can carry on from there. I mean, that's another way of doing it, but I don't know, it's a bit old school, it's a bit heavy. Another thing to check as well, if you did ever do that, if you did ever have to use expanded metal lath or riblath, make sure it's the right way up. So, as I said, riblath, you want the ribs to be on the inside. If you don't know what this is, just Google it and you'll see what riblath is. It's expanded metal. Expanded metal lath, by the way, is like a piece of metal and it's been punctured and then stretched out. So it has like little diamond shaped holes. And it's like a mesh that is embedded inside the plaster. Then you plaster it and push the plaster through it, and it's encased in plaster. Now, what you want to do is put it against the wall and run your hand down the diamonds, and they should feel rough. Okay. If you turn it over and run your hand down, it feels smooth. And you want it to feel rough because that way the diamonds are like tilted inwards because they're sharp on the outside, they're sliding inwards. So the plaster, when it goes on, the render as it goes on, is if it's to slide down, it falls into the wall, not away from the wall and off. All right. Wes, yes, Kirk, congrats on the success of your pink SPR. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. It's going fairly well. No complaints. Sort of got it where I don't really have to be that involved with it now. It's all sort of all automated as such. So when I say I'm going to be involved in it, people go on the website, they make an order. All the orders get approved the next day by Lauren. She takes care of that. And then the orders go to the factory. They package it, get it all ready, and take it to the shipping company, which is next door, which is very handy. Lauren has sorted out the shipping, so that all just gets paid. As soon as the orders come through, that gets paid. And then that's it, it's done. So I'm pretty much hands off. Or I'm just the performing monkey at the front end of the business now. So all I do is just sing and dance about it and make videos and try my best not to drive you guys crazy by spamming the life out of you with it. So if I start talking about it too much, just tell me, I'll just zip it, because the last thing you want is to be sold to, isn't it? You know, the last thing you want to do is come see me, and then every single minute I'm just constantly talking about it. I'm talking about it because I like the stuff, I'm excited about it, but I don't want you to feel like I'm on you about it, you know, just constantly trying to plug it. So I'll just try and keep that zipped a little bit. The only time I ever get really involved is if somebody messages me on social media because an order's late or whatever, and then I just forward the information to Lauren and she deals with it and it gets fixed. So the deal is, if an order goes missing or gets damaged, we just instantly replace it. We just send a new one straight away, and then we try and claim off the shipping company, which up to now we've had about a 0 success rate with. So basically, we just take it on the chin and just send more. But we have to send us proof that, you know, you'll get an email say it's been lost, or if it's been lost or damaged, you'll get an email off the shipping company, and we need to see that, because otherwise, you know, basically it stops people trying to fiddle the system, you know, and just say, oh, it hasn't turned up. Like, well, you'll get an email from the shipping company saying your order's been lost or your order's been delivered. One of the two, you know. So you can't fiddle me. All right. You can try. I'm unfiddleable. The missus still manages to do it though. Mark Elwood, a lot of new builds are using metal framing for internal walls instead of traditional wood. Is that due to cost? I don't know. I worked years ago on some metal framed houses. But what what my opinion of them was that I didn't particularly like them very much, the metal framed houses. I'll tell you something funny about that as well. I used to do site work for Redrow, and a lot of the houses on a particular site, I can't remember which site it was, but they were all metal framed. And when they got bolted together, the sections, sometimes they'd be off half an inch because it's like big panels being bolted together. And, they're just putting them in with impact drivers, tightening up the bolts, and they'd be off quarter of an inch. And when you can only board the wall, there's no adhesive being delivered. So you just board in the wall, there's a half-inch step in it. You've just got to basically bend the wall. Whereas with timber, you could say, we'll get the plane in and plane it back, or and we'll lose it across the wall or do something. Whereas the metal, that's it, that's the shape of it, that's the end of it. So I didn't like that about it. And then the other thing was, um, there was a fella come to us and he said to me, he's trying to hang a shelf in his bathroom. And do we know where the studs are in his bathroom? He said, because as he's going around the walls trying to put his shelf up, he's got his little metal detector so he doesn't hit a copper pipe. And he said, I'm checking, trying to find the shelf. He said, but it's like there's pipes everywhere. He said, everywhere they go, it's like beep, 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 beep. I said, yeah, they're the studs. They're the metal studs that you can fix to. And he went, oh, right. Well, how do I know which one's a pipe? And I said, you won't know where the pipes are. They're made of plastic. It was like an old boy, he was like, this is bizarre, isn't it? So I tell you something I don't like about them, though. I don't know what the deal is with them. If there's been a fire, if you get intense heat on the metal, I don't know what the score is with that, whether you have a fire in your house, if your whole house burns down, and even if the roof burns off, they just put new joists back in, new roof back on, and you put it back together. I don't know how one of those houses, a metal framed house, would fare under fire. Now, I know that you're going to say, well, steel doesn't melt until it gets to a certain heat. But if you remember the Twin Towers, they do melt. Remember? So you never know, do you? Jerry, I need your advice. Bought an old 1930s house. Thought it was just wallpaper and plaster behind, but wallpaper is stuck on to this thin wood panels, which are thick on walls. I don't know how to fix it. What's behind? There must be something behind the wood panels, mate. Yeah, there must be something behind the wood panels. Unless you've bought like a prefabricated house, maybe. You'll have to give me more context, mate. Mark Holt, Kurt, Mark, I've been far too busy, mate. Let's not even go. Did you finish your bathroom? Don't think I've missed any of your vids. I was looking forward to seeing the end result. Trust me, right? So let's just get this clear now, right? So we just nip this one in the bud now. I will finish the bathroom. I've yet to plaster it properly. I've got to do the seal and the walls. I will finish it and it will be mint, and I will record it and post it. Okay. So just in case you think, oh, he might have done it, but not been quite as happy with the results, so didn't post it online. Trust me, I've done flipping. I actually stopped plastering for a while and went fitting bathrooms years ago. I've fitted, I don't know, countless bathrooms. I'm quite, not blowing my own trumpet, I'm quite good at tiling and quite good at the fitting. So I'm not bad at it. I'll be able to do it very well. And I'll spend a lot more time doing my own. So it will be spot on. So that's not the reason I haven't posted it yet. I've just been mad busy. And I'll be honest with you, 100% honest, the only thing that is holding me up now is I need to plaster it. And I don't know what it is. Whenever I come to do a plastering job in my own house, I just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Just because it's just one of those jobs that I just, when you do it day in, day out, you just don't feel like going home and doing it, do you? They always say, don't buy a car from a mechanic. I literally have plastered. I've plastered most of the rooms in my house, or I've had them plastered but I'd say a good 50% of it hasn't been me. I've employed my best mate, who's also a plasterer, to do it for. He works on the building sites, and I'll just say to him, Lee, do us a favour, come and skim some rooms in my house. My brother-in-law skimmed my kid's bedroom for me. Sam, Sierra Delta, that's my wife's little brother. He's plastered in my house. And they, between them two, they've done more plastering. Now, I would let them plaster the bathroom, but I know that we need to make a video about it. So I'm going to have to do the plastering, but that's what's holding me off. And I've been busy with my own plastering work, YouTube channel, dealing with sponsors, sorting out the SBR, and as well, I have a marketing and sales coaching group that takes up quite a bit of time. So with all those things, that makes me feel like that's a good enough excuse that I haven't done it yet. And we've got a toilet here. We've still got the toilet upstairs. We've got the downstairs sink. I've got another sink in here, and we've got a shower in the workshop. So we've sort of, we can manage, but I get plenty of earache, mate. Trust me. You asking doesn't make me feel any better. I get enough earache about it. G2 Dynamics. The channel I'm plastering is okay. Watching for DIY, but because of that sign, I'm subbing. Cheers. Sound good to have you on board. The plastering's okay, but I'm joining for Trump. Robert Linus, Carnivore all the way. You'll never look back. It's interesting, actually. I've is it in here? Don't know where the book is. Wait there, one second. It's interesting you saying that because I don't know where it is now. I've actually bought a book on the carnivore diet. Somewhere it is. Yeah, and I like the look of it. I don't know if I'll be able to do it full. I'm quite good at sticking to things. Maybe I could do it for a year or 2 years, but for the thought of it just being for the rest of my life yet doesn't really feel like it's going to fit. But I probably will give it a whirl just to kickstart me into the process, Howard Morris Kirk, have you tried Mitre Bond glue for fixing skin beads? It's a game changer. Can get them so accurate, plus great for corners where it can't nail into. I haven't yet, but I do like the sound of it. I just haven't got round to buying some of it, so I will do. And when I do, you'll know because I'll include it in the video. That's another thing as well. I love having 20 different ways to do everything, So different ways of fixing beads. I'll either bed them on with the finish as I'm going. I've scrimmed beads on, stapled beads on. I've put clout nail beads on. I've screwed beads on, even though you have to have something solid to screw into because the shape of the screws, you need to push them right through and it wrecks the bead a little bit because otherwise the screws stick out. So it's not like I have one way and I just do that all the time. And it's interesting because whenever I post a video and I show I've done something, people always say to me, oh, you should try this, or you should do this, I'm like, I know, I do that as well. But in this situation, I did it this way. But I haven't tried the glue. Something new to me that I've only sort of learned since being on YouTube. So that's the good thing, isn't it? We never stop learning. So I will try it soon, mate. Clint, has there been any job that you Clint, has there been any job that you, however hard it has to do so, refuse to do? Is there any job I've ever refused to do? Yes. I have turned a couple of jobs down, but not because of the plastering. So even if even if it's a bit of a grey area for me, I'll still take it on and practice and get better. And if it's something that I can't do, then I will literally just go and find someone that can do it and pay them to do the job with me so I learn how to do it. Do you know what I mean? So there's not, for instance, now if we got into doing, I don't know, clay plastering, right? I've not done any clay plastering. I've never used the product of clay ever. But if I got a job and someone said they wanted clay plastering doing, I would say, yes, I'll come and do it. But then I would seek out somebody that does clay plastering and say, hey, Let's do this job. Tell me how much money you want, and I'll pay you. And if it means that it costs me money and I make nothing out of the job, but I learn how to do clay plastering, well, that's like it's just like getting a free education, isn't it? So it's fine. So you don't mind. So I would take literally anything on. The jobs that I've refused to do in the past are because of the customers. So if you get funny vibes from a customer, or it's in both instances, they've both been small building firms. And when I say small, well, when I say small, I mean like smaller firms. So what you find is, or what I find is, working for one man band builders. Okay, so builders that have got two or three lads working for them, and they maybe build a house or they build a couple of houses, whatever, and a few extensions and renovation jobs. Those guys are sound because they're like us, right? So they know that they didn't like us. They know that your wages are what your family live off, and there might be cash flow problems, but they're okay. Right? You can sort of count on those guys. They're not too bad. I find that the big, massive house builders like Redrow and Persimmon, right? They don't pay very well, but they're okay as well. You're sort of going to get your money 99% of the time. The builders that say there's about five of them, and they've got a secretary, that's like small, medium-sized building firms, they're the ones that I don't like. They're because they come at you and say things like, "We've got 30-day terms on payments," and all this sort of stuff. They're acting like big building firms, but they haven't got the money behind them like big building firms. So they're the ones that I always find they'll mess around with your money, and I've seen a lot of fellas go bust. Small, say, plastering firms or small plumbing firms have gone bump because they're waiting on a big payment off one of these middle-ish size builders that hasn't come up with the goods, and they've kept delaying them, and in the end, they've had to fold because they can't afford to pay the lads and can't afford to pay their own accounts. And it's always been those size builders that seem to cause me problems. So they're the ones that I've refused. The last one actually was quite interesting because when I looked at the job, and it was a refurb, and it was on a doctor's surgery, a refurbishment job, and we went around the whole job. He showed me everything that he wanted doing. We looked at everything, and I'm writing stuff down, and I know that everything we had looked at was quite fairly, because in my mind, I know what I'm looking at. I've got quite a good memory because I'm also planning who's doing what in the job as we're going round. He's saying like this, and I'm thinking, yeah, okay, Sam can do that, Carl can do that, whatever. Me dad, me brother. At the time, I'm planning who's doing what sort of thing. And then the day we come to start, they'd ripped all more stuff out, and there was all the ornate cornice around the ceiling had all been damaged. And I said to him, "What are you doing with all that? What's now you've damaged all this? What's happening with that?" He goes, "Oh, you're fixing that." No, I haven't priced for that. No, you have. You have. That was in the price. I said it wasn't, because in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, I wouldn't. I would have thought, right, I'll have to do that, and that's going to take me 2 days to fix all that. So I knew, because I had planned for someone else to go in that room who I wouldn't put to fix the cornice. So I know for a fact that that wasn't in the price. So then he starts arguing with me, and he's saying, "No, that was." And I was like, "Listen, mate, it's not. It's going to be an extra couple of £100. It's like 2 more days' work, and blah blah, and it's going to cost." No, no, no. You said and all this, and I thought, he's arguing with me before we've even started the job. Can you imagine what it's going to be like at the end of the job? And he went. This is the foreman. This is the foreman for that firm, and he went off. And I just turned and said to the fellow I was working with at the time, I said, "My heart isn't in this now. I can't, because this is thousands and thousands of pounds worth of work. We're not going to get paid till the end of it. I can't fully commit to this job and work as hard as what we need to make this pay, because I'm more worried that we're going to not get paid at the end of it." So we just phoned him up. Well, I phoned him up and said, we're sorry, mate. Just to let you know, we've come out of the job, we've locked the door, we've posted the key for the letterbox. We're not doing the job." And he was, "Why? What's going on? What do you mean?" I said, "He said, you can do the job, can't you?" I said, "Yeah, we're capable of doing the plastering. Yeah, well, you've got the materials. We'll supply them." I said, "Yeah, it's not." I said, "None of that's the problem, mate." He said, "What's the problem then?" I said, You, mate." "What do you mean?" I said, I don't like you, and you're quite argumentative, and it's quite. It's not really my style to say that, but I was like, I just told him straight. I said, "Look, it is what it is, mate. I don't like you, and we don't trust you, so we don't feel like we want to do the job." That was the end of it. And he said, "Okay, then, fair enough," and put the phone down on me. Just cancelled me call. And you know what? I'd never seen the fella before in my life, right? And since that day, I must bump into him now about every 6 months. Every now and then, I'll be in a builder's merchant somewhere, and he'll come in or he'll be in the queue. we just we just don't speak to each other. We just look away. I say, come on, come and give Big Kirk a cuddle. uh, Howard Morris, hi Kirk. Oh yeah, we read that. Clint, has there been? Oh yeah, that was where we're up to, wasn't it? Like Simbrit, hi Kirk, how you going, Simbrit? You okay, mate? Freeman's finishes. Oh, where's that gone now? It's a hard graft, mate. How far do you go when you're on your own? Skim the full hall, stairs, and landing, apart from one wall and a full living room the following day. But it kills me when I'm alone. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, mate. I'm sort of at the point now. I'm quite a lucky situation, really. But I'm in the position now where I get to sort of pick and choose my jobs a little bit, which is quite nice because I've always been constantly chasing the work and constantly taking everything on and constantly doing whatever it takes to get the jobs. And I didn't join up to YouTube to promote myself and get more work, but it just seems to be like a never-ending flow of work. It's like too much. So I'm in quite a nice position at the minute. I don't, might not last forever, but for now, I just sort of pick and choose the jobs. And I would never work at the minute without an apprentice or someone to mix for me. The thought of just going completely by myself, just no. I'd rather have half the money and someone to help me. Well, I wouldn't say half. If Leighton's listening, I didn't mean it like half and half, Leighton. I mean like you'll get your money. Freeman's finishes yet doing all the sheeting, mixing, cleaning it now. It's not as hard as site work, but it's a hell of a hard day anyway. It's time consuming. That's what it is. You've got to sheet up, clean up, unpack, get everything out of the van, do the job, clean everything up, unsheet everything, put everything back in the living room. It doesn't matter when you're on your own doing all that and you're having 2 mixes a day doing domestic work. You're not getting home till 6:30, 7 o'clock. It's too long. There's too much time doing it all. Bill Ashton, what size trowel would you recommend, Kirk? For the beginner, I would say a 14-inch by. I used 14 before, but I would say a 14-inch by whatever the standard size is, 4 3/4, 5-inch. That'll be fine for you. I use a thinner one for my wrist. You probably won't have to. So, Joshua McDougall, evening, Kirk. How's things? Spot on, mate. I ordered 3 bottles on Friday. Will I get a shipping email tomorrow? Yes, if you've ordered Pink SPR on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, it will all get packaged and sent tomorrow. So tomorrow it'll get wrapped up, packed up, and it'll get taken next door to the shippers, who will probably have it with you the day after. So it'll probably land Tuesday, mate, or Wednesday. We're trying to make it so it's next day as much as we can. Sort of, we get the orders and it's done the next day, but we haven't got that fast yet to make it so you order and you get it the next day. Trying though, trying. Liverpool, what's the best time of the day to give you a bell about a job, Kirk? Anytime, mate. Anytime, whenever, really. I literally get phone calls. My phone's on silent now. Let's see what we've got. I've had, whilst we've been on here now, I've had 5 messages, and 2 phone calls on silent. So when it beeped before, we just click that off. Anytime, I go to bed at about midnight, shall we say. So. Mac Expert is a hitlet. Unsubscribed. What's a Hitler? It's a baby version of a Hitler. Yeah. So, okay. Take care, Mac Expert. Ciao for now. Barry L. Well, Kurt, your missus must have some patience waiting for her bathroom to be completed. What a woman. She is, mate. She's very tolerant. Um, Where are we up to here now? Logan Rowland. What would you do with a wall with silk paint on that's peelable? Is it okay to plaster over? No. Just get the customer to peel it off, mate. That's what I usually do. If the paint is peeling off, just say to the customer, do you want to spend time and just scrape all that off with a sharp scraper? You could do it. I say to them, look, I could do it, but it'd cost, a lot more than you doing it yourself. It's not a skilled job. Anybody could do it, get the kids involved, but I'd usually just tell the customers to pick it off. Tom Novrol, if a contractor has good cash flow, you should be able to negotiate 14-day payment terms with them. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. My terms are, and I don't care what size company it is, and I've always got my own way or not done the job, is we get paid at the end of every week if it's a building firm, and if it's a customer like Mrs. Jones down the road, then I'll usually just get paid at the end of the job, unless I feel a little bit uncomfortable with them, and I'll take the material money up front as a deposit. So if I go and meet a customer, 9 times out of 10, plaster the downstairs of a house or whatever, couple of days work, I'll just do the job, and at the end of it, get paid. I always agree for them, look, we'll be finished on such and such a day. Are you okay to pay us, that day, so we haven't got to come back for money, or you can transfer it that day or whatever, just so I know I can pay the lads and settle accounts and all the rest of it. And once they agree to that, then it's very weird for them to not do it, if that makes sense. So you finish speaking to your customer, you've just priced the job, you give them the price and all the rest of it, and then say, oh, by the way, we'll be finished on the Wednesday or the Friday or whatever. Are you okay to pay us that same day? And they were instantly going to say yes. So then on that Friday, you're going to get your money. Okay. So that's with customers. I don't like doing sort of taking loads of money off customers, because it makes feel like I don't trust them. But if I genuinely don't trust them, then I'll ask for material money up front. When it comes to builders and firms and the likes of window fitting companies and all that sort of stuff, I'll tell them I won't pay in every Friday. And when they say, oh, we've got terms, they are like 30 days and 14 days. Just because they say that they've got terms, that doesn't mean nothing to me. I know it sounds like, flipping. All I'm saying is, if you're a plasterer and a building firm says to you, our terms are this, you can still turn around and say, well, I don't accept them terms. My terms are, that's the bill, and I want paying stage payments. I want money every week. When we reach this point, you pay us this much, and this point, you pay us this much. And if they don't agree to that, then you don't do the job. So then it just becomes, it doesn't matter what, just because it's not like the law, their terms aren't the law. That's what they hope happens. That's what makes it easier for them to happen. But it doesn't mean that's what has to happen. And depends how desperate they are, they will have to change their terms to suit you if they want you to do the job. And then that way you haven't got all the stress. Them terms basically put all the stress onto you. So you've got to do the job and then wait and hope to get paid at the end of it. I'm like, flipping sod off. Because what you want to do is get as busy as you can, so that if you don't like their terms and they say, well, we won't have you do the job, say, well, that's fine, because there's about 30 other people waiting for me to do jobs for them, so I'll just go and do another job instead. So yeah, that's where you want to be at, isn't it? Not plugging me sales and marketing group, but if you're not there yet, if you're not in that position, then I can help you get in that position. It's quite easy. There's plenty of work around. Tried the new pink SPR, mate. Nice to skim over. No complaints. Nightmare to get off my hands and legs, though. Yeah, I agree. Do you know what's sad? I've used it, obviously, and I've done test runs and stuff with it, but I wanted to be using it a lot myself. But nearly all of my work has all been external work, so I haven't really had any chance to do much with the stuff myself. Lee and Sarah's World. Hey, mate, I know this is off topic. We recently stripped back 3 layers of wallpaper on a bedroom wall and the plaster looks blown. Do we need to remove all the plaster before we replaster? It depends what's blown, mate. It depends what's blown. You may find that it's only, I don't know what. We recently stripped back 3 layers. Okay, so you haven't told me how old the house is. I didn't know if you put the date of the house in there. You may find that only the finishing coat is blown off, in which case, scrape all the loose off and then seal it, and away you go. So there's two schools of thought with it when there's loose plaster. You can either take off what's loose, leave what's solid, and patch up the loose bit, patch up the holes, and then skim over the lot. That's one way of doing it. That's the easiest and cheapest way of doing it. I would recommend the best way of doing it is if bits are falling off. Say that wall, half of it fell off, but half of it's okay. Well, the bit that's okay is the same age as the bit that fell off. So how much longer is it going to stay on for? It could be okay for another 5, 10, 15 years, but it's old, isn't it? So by the time someone's had to fill half of the wall, and it's not much extra time and money to do the whole wall. So it's better to take if it's falling off, it's better to take it all off and start again. But I also live in the real world, and if I always offer that to customers. So when I go and look at a job, I'll always say, look, this is the best way of doing it, and then these are the other options. So let the customer pick. The best way is take it all off. Second option is take off what is loose and fill in and replaster over. But ultimately, you don't want to plaster over anything that's loose. It's just not good, really. But then again, you go around any old house, tap the walls, you're going to find hollow spots. It's just the nature of them. So if that's you, if your walls look fine, but you're tapping everywhere and you're finding little hollow spots, but nothing's fell off, then that's how most houses are, unfortunately. Our plasterer, it's Lee and Sarah's World. Our plasterer said he needs it all gone to bond and plaster it again. So far, it's been tough and dusty to get it all off. Well, yes, tell me about it. I know. The Wandering Mason. Hi, Kirk. Mr. Kirk. How you doing, mate? You okay? Top man. Paul Murphy. Hi, Kirk. The pink SBR is brilliant. Been using it this week. Also doing some rendering. What's the next bag stuff to use for a sponge finish? What is the next bag stuff to use for a sponge finish? I'm used to sand and cement, thanks. Okay, so something very similar to sand and cement is OCR. It's quite expensive though for what it actually is, but it's lovely to use. So, where have we gone here now? Flipping neck. The comments are coming in fast. I'll try and read quicker. Chris Roberts. Kurt, nice to meet you the other week outside my local merchants in Mold. Spot on, Chris. Yes, I remember, mate. Fantastic. Connor Bennett. Hey, Kurt, just wondering, can I get the SBR delivered to Ireland? Yes, mate, you can do. If it doesn't let you do it when you fill the form in, then just go to the contact section and message the girl, Lauren, and just tell her that you want it sent into your postcode, and she will sort out the shipping and apply it to the website, mate. So you will be able to. So if it's not there available straight away, just fill the form in, tell her where you live, and she'll get it sorted so you can order it. Hadley Jones, the Anglian Artex Buster. I like that. Hi, Kirk. What's my WhatsApp, pal? Have you found a big enough ceiling for us both to get on for a blog? Mad for it. How's the Toyota going? Beauty. The Toyota's spot on, mate. I had it out the other week. I went shooting with my dad. Only plinking with an air rifle, Got the Air Arms TX200 out, and we went to North Wales shooting school, just shooting targets. Do you know what as well? When I was there, the scope was slightly off. And I went down to the shop and bought a new scope and fitted it there. And then they did it all in the shop for me and lined it all up. But by the time they had lined it up, the shooting school was basically closed. So my dad and his mate went, and it was just me there. And I said to the fella, do you mind if I just go back up to the range and just have a few more little pops and just see if I can zero it in and just hit a few targets, because I've literally been here for 2 hours and hit not a single thing because my scopes were knackered. I think one of the kids have been in here and dropped it, but anyway, we don't know. So I've got too many kids. So anyway, he said, yeah, fine. And the owners of the shooting school went shooting clay pigeons further up. So he said to me, you can spend an hour in there by yourself, mate, not a problem. And we've locked the gate. So if you want to leave, come up here and see us, or we'll get you on the way back out. So I'm there now for an hour. I zeroed the scopes in and it was working spot on. I'm hitting like a 50 pence piece at, like, 70 meters and all sorts. It was perfect. And just as I got it zeroed in and I was hitting the target spot on, out the blue, this wood pigeon, literally the target that I was shooting, kept putting pellets on the same target. This wood pigeon just flew in and just landed right next to the target and just stood there perfectly side on. And you know what? I feel like it was a test, because I've always adhered to the same principle. I would never kill an animal for fun, ever. So, but it was almost like the minute I got the rifle right, it was like someone was testing me to say, is he true to his word? Because I've always said that, I don't mind killing animals to eat, but you've got to respect an animal. You shouldn't ever just kill it just for the hell of it. And it was just funny how it was just sat there and it stayed perfectly still, as if to say, go on, shoot me. I thought, no, I couldn't do it. And I had more pleasure watching the thing fly off, and it felt nice knowing it had flown off. Don't know why I told you that anyway, just things that come to your mind, Wolves Landscapers. Hey Kirk, how's it going? Spot on, mate. Thank you. Stephen Clark. Hello, mate. Is there anything you can use to cover damp patches on Artex, then paint over? Painted a room at my mum's and noticed a few circles of damp. If they're still damp, then you need to fix the cause of it. But if the dampness is gone, then just go and get some stain block. Just paint some stain block on it. It's not cheap. It's fairly dear, but it works. Kirk, I need a new van. What would you recommend that's not too expensive? I'm looking for something around the £3,000 to £5,000 mark. I don't know, mate. I don't. All I'd say to you is this: whatever van you get, if it's a plastering, make sure that you can fit a plasterboard easily in the back of it, stood up at the side on a rack. So a transit van is ideal. An 8x4 sheet fits in the back of a transit van. I got, after my transit van, I had a Vauxhall Vivaro, and it didn't. And it was an absolute pain in the ass. I had to have a roof rack. I had to have put the boards diagonally across the van, which was a pain because you got to move all your tools, or put them on the roof rack, which guaranteed every time I put it on the roof, it rained. So I would steer clear of anything that you can't fit an 8x4 in the back of. If I could pick, I like what I've got. I've got a Volkswagen Crafter, which is basically just a Mercedes Sprinter. I got the medium wheelbase high top, so I can walk in the back, and it's 3 meters long. Well, 3.2 meters long, which means that I can fit a length of COVID in the back of it. So that's why I got it. But if I could pick any van, I'd probably get a Toyota Hiace if it was long enough. I don't know what the size is in the back, but I like Toyotas because they run forever. So that's my favorite car brand, is a Toyota. Whether it's practical, whether boards fit them, I don't know. Sean O'Donnell, my property is finished in Tyrrelline. Some of it is blown in places, only small patches. I was going to knock it off and skim over it with ready mixed cement and stipple it with a brush. Would that be okay? I probably wouldn't, mate. I wouldn't like to advise you to do it, because no doubt your Tyrrelline it's probably been painted. So then you're like, well, is it going to stick? It's always, if it's blown in sections, do you want to add more weight to other sections that are potentially loose, but you don't know yet? If you've got a bit that's fell off and another bit next to it that's come loose, but it hasn't fell off yet, so you don't know it's blown. I mean, unless you've been all over the whole house and tapped it, it's rock solid, tapped it with a hammer. Then if you add more weight to a section that hasn't fell off yet, then chances are it will fall off, and then you've done all that extra work for nothing when it would have only took you 2 days to take it all off. Go to Screwfix and get yourself a big Titan Kango jackhammer thing. They're 70 quid, so you can buy two because they're not expensive, and chop it all off first, and then you're getting a proper job, aren't you? Because you're back to the brick. Wolves Landscaper, Deck, any van's better than no van, even if it's a small one, as long as you can get your stuff round. That's the main thing. Hey, yeah, there's another little tip for you. That's whilst he's saying that, I always keep a little bit of spare cash for if my van ever goes in the garage. I'd go and buy what I call a little dinger. So I'd always keep like £1,000 aside. If my van ever broke, I'd just go straight out and just buy a rat van, I used to call little dingers, little rat vans, just anything, 600 quid. It could be leaking oil and all sorts, but as long as I can still get to work with it. And then as soon as I get my van back, I just sell it, as long as it just paid for what it cost. If you were good and you cleaned it, had your kids valet it, you could potentially sell it for a bit more. But now I've got my Hilux instead. That's what I use instead. So when my van's off the road, I just chuck everything in the Hilux. Right, these guys are just having a little chat. Jack, any advice regarding plastering, i.e. courses for beginners wanting to start? Yeah, a plastering course is okay, mate. It's a good introduction. A better way to learn, I would say, is to get in with somebody, to get in with another plasterer, go and work for somebody else. And you might struggle getting in, so just offer to work for free to see if you're any good, and then chances are they're not going to abuse you and have you work for nothing, but it's a foot in the door. If someone comes to me and says, Kirk, I'm really looking for a job, I want to get a start in plastering, I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to be tied down with this guy. If he's, he could be useless, he could be a nightmare and all the rest of it. If he said to me, which has happened a few times, Kirk, can I just jump in with you? I don't want paying. Just give me a chance for the week, and if it doesn't work, then no problem whatsoever. It's costing nothing, and at least we both know. And if it does work, then obviously we'll just sort out going forward. Now, that's a nice offer to be someone present to you, because it's not the money, it's not saving the money for the week. It's saving that, am I tied to this person? How do I get rid of them? If they are useless. So no one's going to let you work all week and give you nothing. I mean, that's just, if they are, you don't want to work for them. The scumbags. So you're always going to get something anyway. So don't feel like you're going to work and don't expect nothing, but potentially you will get paid for what you've done. But then at least you get a start with somebody, and then you're getting paid to learn rather than paying a course to learn. Now, courses are great as an introduction, but I don't think you're going to do a plastering course and then be away as a fully fledged plasterer. It takes a little bit. Courses are great for getting you to be able to use the tools and do a wall. But the thing with plastering is it takes experience of different situations. You have to struggle with different problems, and you build up that experience so that in the end, there's nothing that you can come across that'll phase you, because you've got over everything in the past, or 99% of things that pop up. Ivan Perskarik. Ivan. I'm not sure of your surname, Ivan, so I'll just say Ivan. Opinion on extra time. I'm plastering a newly installed plasterboard that pulls like crazy. Don't think I'm so slow, as can do roughly 10 meters square, 2 coats in less than an hour, but worried for bigger areas. Okay. It's interesting how you're saying that you're finishing it in less than an hour. I'm only saying that, Ivan, because the plaster has to set to finish it. British Gypsum plaster has to be completely set, or very nearly set, for it to be finished. And if it's just natural and you haven't added any accelerator to it, then it usually takes at least 2.25 hours, at least. I mean, I make a gauge last about 3 hours, so I'm a bit concerned that you're sort of doing it in an hour. Ultimately, extra time is good, but if you're struggling, if it's going off quick because of suction, then extra time won't really help you that much. So extra time will extend the length of the set, but if it's because of high suction, if they're pulling in fast on the boards, it might be a better option to see all the boards instead, get some PVA or some SPR and seal the plasterboards and see how you go with that first. Maybe do one wall as a test wall and just see how that goes, you know. Bill Ashton plastered my first ceiling and wall the other day, purely off your videos. Planning on patching some chases, already bonding them. Any quick tips? Yeah, patching. Make sure you put your sealer. If you know if the patch is that thick, and you're going to plaster out, to that thick, you need your sealer to go out that thick and feather in straight from the get go. Unless you've left the chases back a little bit and you're just going to fill the chase. People do say that to me all the time. You don't need to blend in, you just fill and plaster up to it. But I've seen chases that have just been filled and not feathered across, and you can usually see them. In my experience, it's better to blend the plaster in, and in that case, you need to seal past where you're going to go and start blending in straight from the get-go. Okay, so make sure your first coat, it's blended in on both sides of the patch or the chase, and then the second coat the same again, a little bit wider, and then each time wet the blend, brush it and wet it, bring the fat up in it and trowel it up and down. If the chase is that way up, don't go across it so much with your trowel because it'll cause a bump. Just go up and down it with the trowel. Sean O'Donnell, built in 1978. Okay. Sean, I think you were on about the wood paneling. So that's strange. It doesn't sound right. There must be something behind the wood paneling, mate. Liam says, well, top man, we've been taking as much off as possible as it is hollow in spots. Yeah, usually what happens as well when you start taking plaster off, the bit that you take off is hollow and what surrounds it is solid. But as soon as you start taking the hollow bit off, it loosens the bit around it and it just grows. So I always say if you're going to take a bit of the wall off, you may as well take it all off because usually it ends up coming off anyway, Supercharged G60 just finished a new bathroom refit. Just finished work now. Hi, Kirk, mate. Hope you all well. You good? Having a good weekend? Yes, mate. Very good, thank you. Metal detecting with Dicko in the UK. Would you travel as far as Doncaster if the job was big enough? To be honest with you, mate, I'm not really that interested in doing big jobs. I know it sounds bizarre, doesn't it? But I would like to. I don't mind traveling to do jobs to anywhere in the country, even different countries. I don't mind, going abroad for interesting work, stuff that I haven't done a lot of. Different things. General house bashing. I've done loads of it, and I've got loads of it on my doorstep. So I tend not to want to travel for just to skim someone's extension or to reskim someone's living room because I can do that close to home, and see me missus and kids every night. And then the other thing is, from a plasterer's point of view, or from here's the thing, right? When you're young and you're starting out, you want massive jobs, right? Because you sort of think, okay, that's a £5,000 job or a 10 grand job. I'm going to be there for ages. You sort of put your tools on the job and you settle down and you're there. Then that's you for a month or 2 months or whatever size the job is. But what you'll find over years is that big jobs usually don't pay as well. Because let's just say, for instance, you want to earn, let's just make numbers up, okay? Let's just use random numbers, right? This in no way correlates to my wages. I'm just giving you an example. Let's just say, for instance, you price a big job up and you've worked it out and you've priced yourself in at £100 a day. And then it comes to £10,000, right? Fine. Let's just say, for instance, you wanted to earn £200 a day. That 10 grand job has now become 20 grand job and you lose it. Okay. So trying to earn a lot more money per day is difficult on big jobs because the bill goes a hell of a lot bigger. Right. So when trying to get a 10 grand job to 11 grand is difficult, because there's an extra £1,000 on the job. So but that equates to not a lot in your daily wage sort of thing, what you're going to take home at the end of the week. If you do little jobs, let's just say you're a plasterer doing little jobs and you're just doing a bedroom here and a bedroom there, charging more money per day is very easy because it's a one-off little job. So, you go to a job and say, right, it's going to be £100, £50 material to plaster that room, right? I'm using random, no one works for 100 quid anymore, by the way, but I'm just using it as an example. A bedroom then costs 150 quid, right? You decide, I want £200 for the day plus the materials. Well, 150 and 250 is not a great deal different. It's to the customer, it's 100 quid. It's neither here nor there, right? But when you multiply that by, every single room in the house by a long job, it becomes very expensive. So I would rather do lots and lots and lots of little jobs. 2 bathroom ceilings a day is good for me. I can earn more money doing that, and it's less stress. I can earn more money going and doing a little bedroom here, a living room there, a little porch there. I can earn more money like that than sort of being on a job where it's the whole house getting done, because I'd end up being like, a lot more expensive. If that makes sense, mate. By the way, I'm sorry. I don't want to come across as like I'm turning my nose up at work. I'm not. It's just I'd rather stay local for my family, and I wouldn't want you to feel ripped off. That's the best way of putting it. Simon P, are you going to be right? There's a few comments I've shot past again here. Sorry, guys. The comments are flipping. I keep losing my place because when I scroll down on my little flipping doofer here, it skips straight to the bottom, and then trying to go back up to find where I was up to is difficult, and you end up me like the screen whilst I'm trying to see it. So, Zazzy, hey mate, I think you should get a Trump 2024 plate. I'll have to send Kieran back to New York to get me another one. Nothing wrong with enjoying a Trump. That's how my missus that, mate, because every morning when I wake up and let one off, she flipping goes nuts. Jenny Game, can you do a video phone consultation on what to do so I know what kind of plasterer to get and ask the right questions? I'm a girl and I keep getting drastic differences and things said by traders. Okay, yeah, sure. I'm happy to help you out, mate. Jerry Game. Jerry, if you go to my channel description, on YouTube, the email address is in there. So just send me an email over and just say it's you, and then send us a few pictures over the job, and I'll sort of have a look at for you and tell you what my opinion. Here's the thing, Jerry, just because you're getting told different things off different plasterers, it doesn't necessarily mean that anyone's trying to do anything dodgy on you. What you'll find with plastering is there's literally 10 ways to do every single job. So one fella likes doing things one way and another guy likes doing things another way, and they might not agree, but they can both be right. That's the thing. So but I can tell you what I think is the best, or I can tell you all the different options that I know of that are available to you, and then you can decide what you think's best for yourself. Then Freeman's finishes 150 for the bedroom customers for the rest in peace. Yeah. Those prices, by the way, they're just completely just pulled out the air. Imagine, let's just say you're on £300 a day and you wanted 350, and the job was, a month long. Well, you've got an extra £50 a day times 60 days, so it's trying to earn more money. It soon puts a big chunk on top of the job, doesn't it? Is what I'm trying to say. Metal detecting it, yeah, sound. Thank you for understanding, mate. Hadley Jones, the van you've got, I'm thinking about getting a bigger one. I have a Ford Custom. Do you ever have problems with parking? What's the horror park story? What sticks to mind? Terraced houses, mad for it stories. Yeah. No, I don't really struggle parking my van, mate. It can be a little bit of a pain if you go to flipping multi-story car parks because you can't get in. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I didn't consider, right? When I got my van, actually, high top sort of van, which is a medium wheelbase, but it's a long wheelbase. From the transit world, that's an extra long wheelbase we've got now. But in the Sprinter world, it's only a medium wheelbase. But either way, doesn't. What I'm saying to you is, I never took into account, and you should bear this in mind when you're buying a van. You can't get through drive-throughs. So KFC, Costa Coffee, it's all out the question. You can't. You've got to park up and go in. That's the only disadvantage for me. Parking's not an issue, but I can't get through the. I can't go through the drive-throughs anymore. GG Gugu. Good evening, Kirk. Finally caught one of your new lives. Cheers, mate. Tom, couldn't believe I just got an ad on your live, Kirk. Never seen that before. there are the ads are in them, mate. YouTube put them in. I can decide to have them more aggressive or less aggressive. So I just put them to the minimum so that they don't interfere with the lives too much. Because I'll be honest with you, the lives don't get hardly any views compared to the views they get on the videos. So the revenue from a live, it's like diddly squat compared to anything else. So it's like there's no point me making the viewing experience poor by having lots of adverts because it's not like the lives are going to earn any money anyway. You know, I'm talking when I say they don't make any money, I mean literally the best live I've ever done that got the most views ever earned me about 13 quid. So it's like it's just not worth spoiling it with loads of adverts. But I've just set them to the sort of the slowest setting so you don't have to see them very often. GG Goog, do you think it's worth paying extra for stainless steel corner beads for both internal and external walls, please? I would say internally, no, unless you are sand and cementing with waterproof. If you're in an old building and you've had you put a damp proof course in, and you're floating the bottom of the walls with waterproofing and stuff, then yes, use stainless steel. If you're just re-skimming or something, then it's not really worth it. If you're in a fairly modern house that's got a damp proof course, then probably not. Externally, yes, but I'd be more inclined to go with plastic beads externally. So Jenny game, yeah, no worries, Jenny. Tom, got your tea. Hi, Kirk. I used the pink SBR over an old bare plaster, and it's amazing. Good to edit, mate. Thank you very much. Deck, what have you got planned for tomorrow, work-wise, mate? Nothing. When I say nothing, I've got to find a new balance with my life, because what's happening is what's sort of happening is me plastering, going to work every day, sort of my 9 to 5 job of plastering is taking up so much time. But then I've got obviously YouTube making videos and doing the sales and marketing sort of coaching and doing the SBR. These things are meaning that I basically don't get any time for myself because I work all day and then work all night. So what I'm having to do for my own sanity. What's up, sweetheart?
Well, one, I need money in my bank card for school tomorrow.
Yeah.
And good night.
Sorry, wait there 1 second. 1 sec. Kiss, love you. Well, how much money do you want?
Well, 30 for lunch and then 10 for 40, please.
Okay, I'll do you for the week.
It should do.
Okay, I'll do it in a bit. Okay, love you. Guys, sweetheart. Right, youngest daughter. Yeah, so what I was saying was it gives me no time. So I've got to start. It's hard for me to do because I've always been self-employed. So I've always been used to constantly trying to get work. So to now sort of not try and do as much plastering means that I can focus more on doing the other stuff that needs attention. So I've got work to do, but not physical work. So it actually feels like I'm not working, even though I am. But trying to convince myself that it's still actual work, even though I'm not physically tired at the end of it. It's a bit weird for me. GG, thank you, no problem, mate. Bill Ashton, Kirk, you still got the plastering course going on. Did see something on your site. Yes, but that's another thing. Yes, but I need to be doing more on that as well. So there's a trying to keep up with everything is difficult when you're trying to run a plastering business and work. But I can't pack plastering in. Obviously, I've got to keep doing that because one, because I love it. I actually really do enjoy plastering, and two, I need to make content. I can't film, I can't make videos without doing the plastering. So I've got work booked up later on in the week, but none for tomorrow. I've got a day off tomorrow, a day off plastering. Hadley Jones, Kirk, what's your way of pricing of plans? Instant quotes, someone sends you the floor plans and photos and said, want an estimate Artex ceilings. So can you see the pattern but no access? How do you deal? No. New build, I don't mind pricing off a plan. New build will work out a square meterage. As long as there's not too much detail work, it's okay saying you do square meterage, but if there's like flipping loads and loads of windows everywhere and there's reveals and nibs and bits, you've got to be careful with your meterage price because some houses are a lot more complicated to plaster than others. Bay windows and things like that slow you down, so you've got to take all that to account. But if it's old work, never price off it plan. I always want to go and see the job. And that's it. So I can give them a ballpark, but I always want to go and see it before they get a final price. Owl's late in shaping up Kirk. Yeah, he's good. He's all right. He's been off. His mum got married on the weekend, so he's been to Scotland. Kirk's kids on a good day rate. So that's my youngest daughter. She goes to school on a bit of a bus ride away from here. So obviously she needs a bus fare and she needs a packed lunch money and all the rest of it. And the thing is as well, I always try and make sure she's got enough money with her as well that if she missed the bus, that she's not stuck. She could get a taxi or whatever. So just keep her topped up. The good thing is she's got a little in my bank account. You can have spaces like little kids spaces, and they've got their own cards. So I've got like the dad account, and then all the little accounts are attached to mine. I can just put money in and take it out for them. So, Tom, take it easy, mate. Right, guys. In fact, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. So I'll just read these comments now, and then. I'm going to go and lie on the couch a bit because it's been a long day for me. The little fella was awake at like 6 o'clock this morning for his birthday. So, Freeman's finishing. Bill, yeah, joined the coaching group. I only joined a few weeks ago and I've implemented the sales techniques and pricing up jobs. And I seem to be earning a lot and winning a lot more. Cheers to the recommendation, mate. Do you know what I see, lads? I never tell anybody who's in the group, so in case I will never mention this, Freeman, that you've put this out there. You can put that out there, mate. I don't tell anybody who's sort of in the coaching group, mate. But it's nice of you to say anyway. Went from struggling to earn 800 a week to easily getting 1,000 to 1,400 pound a week. Good. I'm glad it's working out well for you, mate, as well. Mark Broughton, would you recommend boarding over an Artex sealant or just skimming it? Depends if there's. I got a hair curled up into my nose or something. If the ceiling is over lime wash paint. If underneath the Artex is lime wash paint, then you've got to overboard it. If it's not, then I'd usually try and just skim over it, just because it saves cost and it saves all the extra work involved, you know. Mark Holt, will you be my dad? Yeah, sure, mate. I've got a few of them on the payroll. I've got 3 daughters, the missus, flipping heck. The lad's getting nothing. He's getting brought up the same way I was. The girls, my philosophy is spoil the girls and treat them like little princesses, right? So they always get sort of spoiled, and I know I'm spoiling them, but they've always been brought up to be respectful and well-mannered. As you heard, respect is a big important thing for me, you know. I don't like being spoke to shitty by children, you know, so they've always got to be very polite and well-mannered. That's the most important thing. But that said, I do spoil the girls intentionally, because my philosophy is, I've seen this play out quite a few times. My mum was in a similar situation, for instance. If I'm mean to my girls, I'm restrictive with them, and they don't get any money, and I'm sort of harsh on them, then when they go and move on, if they got with a boyfriend who was also very stingy with his money and mean to them, it's no difference. So they just easily just jump into that role and carry on. But then they've got a shit life. So in my mind, I might be wrong and you might disagree, but this is how I look at it. If I'm really nice to the girls and set a good example of how a man should treat them, I'm kind to them, I'm loving and understanding, and I'm freely give them whatever they need, then if they get with a boyfriend who's mean and stingy with them, hopefully they'll run for the hills, because they're like, oh, that's not right. Hopefully they'll find another man that treats them kindly and nicely and generous with them, you know. They're not greedy. They don't take more than what they need. I'm fair with them, and they're nice kids for it. But they do get a little bit spoiled, you know, sort of what they ask for, they do tend to get. With the lad, on the other hand, no point spoiling him whatsoever, because unfortunately, it's a different world for him. That little fella's got to learn that if he wants something, he's got to go out and make it happen, you know. So you might look at that as sexist. And going back to the Trump thing, there you go. That's it. I'm a misogynist or whatever, flipping. But that, in my opinion, men have to go out there and make something of themselves. I'll tell you another thing as well that I always say to my kids. Men are born with no value, ultimately. When I say no value, I don't mean that like, you know, you can just throw them in the bin. What I mean is, though, a man basically has to become something. He has to make something of himself. He has to either be physically strong and fit, or make himself wealthy, or make himself a leader of men. But he has to do something to gain status in society. Otherwise, he's sort of seen as a low value man. You know, he's not very desirable for a good wife if he's, you know, if he doesn't earn any money and he's obese and he's timid and everyone sort of picks on him, well, then he's not really got much of a pick of the litter, you know, in terms of women. So a man has to make something of himself. He has to create value. Whereas I say to the girls, you are naturally, because you're women, born with value. You are already born with value. If you look after yourself, you're pretty, you keep yourself sort of speaking nice, and you're easy to get along with, you've already got the value. Like, you don't have to be dead smart. You'll have the pick of all the top men. You just have to keep your value. Every time you have a boyfriend and whatever, you're lowering your own value. I say to the girls, so you keep your value. That's all you've got to do until you're married. And boys, you have to make something of yourself. You've got to go out there, work, prove yourself, and create something of yourself, you know. Good men are made, aren't they? Not born, ultimately. Fair enough. Sean, great live, Kirk. Like, take it easy, mate. Bill, straight to the heart. My logic was, if I screw it up, I'll just pay and get it done. Think I watched about 20 different videos of Kirk's priming the Hawk. Was a game changer. Spot on, Bill. Freeman's finishes, only messing, by the way, Bill. Don't take it the wrong way. I wish I had the knowledge to not wreck my body every day just to earn some money. Fair, I'm with you on that one. Metal detecting. How often do you do these lives, pal? I usually try and do them every Sunday, mate. Usually. Like I say, I've just been flipping mad busy though, so I will try to continue doing them every Sunday around about 8 o'clock, 8, 9 o'clock ish. Del Boy, I had Trump 2020, no more shit decals. Stuck them in customers' fridges. Customers. Okay, fair enough. Freeman's finishes. Billy's given all of our secrets away. Bill Ashton, difference with plastering is customers are like, wow, what a great job. I rewire a house and customers like, oh, the sockets work. True, mate. We are the glory boys, us plasterers. Mark Holt, great values, top man. Thanks for the stream. Take it easy, Mark. Freeman's finishes. All right, okay. That's true. We take all the glory. Right, gents, that's it. No more comments. I'm done. I'm going to bed. I'm not actually. I'm going to go and watch a film. Gents, thanks for dropping in. And we'll see, won't we? What was it? 71,000 subscribers. I might wake up tomorrow and have 20,000 because all the ones that can't handle the Trump sign are gone. Take it easy, GG. Bill Ashton, thanks, Kurt. Great live. Night, mate. Ryan McDonald, take care, bud. Gents, it's been emotional. Good night, God bless.